you know, you saw Aidan Hart was removed. There was no sentiment, just there's no ruthlessness about Galway that I've sensed. And again, when Kilkenny got the goal, like against the Tipperary match, up the field and levelled the match and went ahead again and drove on. And I think, you know, it's there for them if they really want it.
Time for us to head back to the commentary box to Ger Canning and Michael Dykeman.
Second half underway. No changes made by either managers at the start of the second half. One change, of course, made in the first half. David Collins coming on for Aidan Hart for Galway. And Galway with Cyril Donnellan here, attracting 3 Kilkenny players to him. Now let's see who can pick up the intensity levels immediately here, because it's got to be important. As Cyril Farrell was mentioning, the opening 10 minutes usually means a 10-minute spell in which Kilkenny will try to dominate, and Galway are prepared for that, or are they? TJ Reid selling a dummy there with a possible hand pass. Inside it goes towards Colin Fennelly. Fennelly again with 3 or 4 defenders around him, and John Hanbury is one of those. John Hanbury, old style full back play, gets it out here down towards Cyril Donnellan. Once again covering beautifully back there is Shane Prendergast. Out as far as Pádraig Walsh it comes. Here's Pádraig Mannion at a very, very good first half to his brother Cahill, and the Mannions combine. Can't produce a score, however, drops short. Owen Murphy begins the counter-offensive for Kilkenny. Onto the 45-metre line, and again minding that line with great vigilance is Iarla Tannion. It's like Kilkenny have extra players back there. One of them is Paul Murphy, fumbled, and that might allow Cyril Donnellan to come in here. And then there was a trip, but he's been told continue. He seemed to be tripped by Pádraig Walsh. In the end, the free goes against Galway and incenses most of the Galway fans around me.
Yeah, we'll see it again here. Pádraig Walsh comes in. He went to flick the ball. He flicked the hurl instead. I think he fell himself already. He wasn't tripped or anything. That we watch here. And he gives a free out then for overcarrying. Look, again, the second half, Ger, started the very same as the first half. Kilkenny, look at this miss-hit.
Pádraig Joyce does manage to get it as far as Conor Fogarty, however, and Conor Fogarty gets Kilkenny's first point in the second half, his first as well. Very important contribution, and the Galway fans still booing the award of that free against their team.
But a feature of the first half, Ger, was that Kilkenny not as dominant in the air as they normally are. The Galway backs obviously worked very hard on it since the tip match. They're breaking a lot of the ball, and Pádraig Mannion in particular picking up an awful lot of ball in the Galway, around the Galway half back line.
Brian Cody geeing up his team. There's not much need to do that. Michael Fennelly once again getting it back here to Richie Hogan, trying to work himself more into the game for the second half. Back once again to Fennelly. The big man leaves this one inside here. It runs beyond Ger Aylward. There's work to do for Colin Fennelly to try and get to it. And won back once more by John Hanbury. Good play by Hanbury, and Hanbury turned back towards the crowd and G'd up the crowd. There was hardly any need to do that.
Yeah, he won it very well. He's having a much bigger influence on the game, having a very good game today, but he didn't look up at all there with his clearance straight out over the sideline.
This is going to be taken by Pádraig Walsh. Player has played at wing back, midfield, wing forward in each of his last 3 championship matches against Galway, reminiscent of his brother Tommy, who's watching on. That sails over the head of Dáithí Burke here. He might need help from Iarla Tannion, and they still can't get it away. Burke comes in here. The challenge, however, is deemed to be an illegal one on Ger Aylward. Chopping down onto the stick rather than trying to get the ball away. This is Hanbury just a moment ago here, put under pressure by Colin Fennelly, got the ball away.
Yeah, good discipline. I think that's a very hard yellow card. You know, I know he was a little bit high, but he was only a little flick away, and it's a yellow card. And
well, you compare that with the misdemeanor of Johnny Cohen earlier on. They're both yellow cards.
Yeah, well, Johnny Cohen should have gone. I think most people agree on that one.
Think so. TJ Reid hitting this free and hitting it straight over. That's a goal and 4 points now for TJ Reid.
And Ger, we saw this last year in the final at half-time, just talking to a few lads. Last year they all thought Tip were going to kick on. This year they're all saying Galway. And I was just reminding them, you know, Kilkenny have this habit of coming out and starting the second half very well and taking over the game.
They're not the brilliant Cats for nothing. That's down there by Cyril Donnellan, looking for somebody to come onto it. That somebody was David Burke. Hit across as far as Cahill Mannion. Andy Smith there in the thick of that with the white helmet, number 8 for Galway, but won again by a man with a white helmet. That's Pádraig Walsh. Good clearance under pressure, somehow managed to get it away towards Owen Larkin. They wait for it to come out. TJ Reid picked it up, then showed awareness down towards Colin Fennelly, brings John Hanbury out of position, the fullback. Now he's under pressure. Fennelly bouncing it on the ground before trying to set something up, looking for an option here. Hasn't too many options. Held up really well by Hanbury and by Pádraig Mannion. Two young, inexperienced defenders, and in the end it goes out over the end line here. And again the referee going back to have a word with the umpire, but that's going to be a 65. First at the beginning of the second half.
Yeah, Colin Fennelly took far too much out of that ball. When he got it originally, Jerry Elwood was loose outside him 20 yards away. Great defended by Galway, but Colin Fennelly, you know, not the player that he was over the last few years, a little bit hesitant on the ball, and I'd say Richie Power, you know, will be introduced at some stage, maybe for Colin Fennelly in there.
Well, great play by Hanbury and by Mannion. When you consider all the gifted players that Galway have had over the last 27 years, and now 3 players today in their rookie season, Hanbury, Mannion and 18-year-old Conor Whelan, they all have a chance of winning an All-Ireland at their very first attempt. But right now, they're only a point in front, and that lead may be expunged in just a matter of moments here, because TJ Reid is ready to line up the 65.
And you see Michael Fennelly shoving Andy Smith back. I've noted a massive increase in Kilkenny's physicality since half-time. Their intensity rates have gone way up, and Michael Fennelly leading that from the middle of the field, as he normally does.
Something in the half-time cup of tea, and the words of wisdom from Brian Cody, no doubt, as well.
Well, I was watching him there from Walter Walsh hit that ball into the goalie's hands just before half-time, and he danced some jig on the sideline, so I'd say they got it fairly hard at half-time already.
Fennelly and Andy Smith, 2 opponents in midfield, at the receiving end of a lecture here. There could be a card as well. It looks like there's going to be, because the referee's writing away. So Michael Fennelly will become the first Kilkenny player to have a yellow card. And is it a temporary substitution that is required as well? Andy Smith also gets a yellow card, and now I think he's saying to Andy Smith, you got to go off and be replaced to have the wound attended to. So they're going to have to make a change. Meanwhile, it's 65 coming up for Kilkenny, and TJ Reid, a goal by TJ Reid after some 13 minutes of the first half. 4 points so far as well. Now, can he tie up the match here? He most certainly can. 110 now becomes 111 to 14 points. And there are 42.5 minutes gone in this match, and the teams are level for the 5th time.
Yeah, Jared Galway need to score. They haven't had a shot at goal since half-time. Kilkenny completely dominating around the half-back line of midfield now.
Number 17, Fergal Moore, has come on for Andy Smith as a temporary sub, and there he is with the red helmet. Fancying his luck here as well, but doesn't quite work out for him. Just scored once ever in the championship, today coming on to play in his 36th championship match, now 33 years of age. Part of the experience that Anthony Cunningham can call upon, should he be so required.
Galway have to be disciplined. Joe Canning inside on fire in the first half. He needs to get the ball. That ball should have been flicked in front of him.
Once more we're watching TJ Reid here try to knock it forward into the path of Michael Fennelly. Work to do here. Good play by David Burke. Got across here, deflected it away. He really is a terrific midfield player, David Burke. He's been in top form this year. Teams level. Tense All-Ireland afternoon here at Croke Park. Line ball coming up, and once again it's going to be TJ Reid who will take it, the 27-year-old. Awkward angle. Just tries to get it back into play. David Burke got his stick to it. Then he was fouled, I thought. And the referee has blown his whistle this time, and it is going to be a free out for Galway. Knocked to the head there. I think it was Colin Fennelly who was coming across who caught him. I'll just see it again here.
Yeah, watch, it's all eyes on the ball there. And Fennelly jumped into him and hit him hard into the head. Another yellow card.
And another yellow card is dished out here by our match referee, James Owens. None whatsoever until that one was issued to Johnny Cohen just before half-time, and now all of a sudden we've got quite a few. And Fergal Moore has now left the field and been replaced once again by Andy Smith. Andy Smith's a vital part of this Galway team. They dominated the first half. Opening minutes of the second half, it's been very much Kilkenny. Now let's see where this game is going to go. Great catch by Jonathan Glynn, blocked down. Again, they try to make some inroads here, and Kilkenny's then surround them. And the referee once more steps in, and he will throw the ball in to end the uncertainty. Jonathan Glynn there against Killian Buckley, the number 7 for Kilkenny. Pops back out once again, out as far as Pádraig Welch. Poor loose ball, however, straight to David Collins. David Collins, who scored against Kilkenny in the Leinster final in 2012. They won that day. He'd love to be there lifting the cup at the end of this. He's got a point here. And Galway shoot back in front again by 15 points to 111.
Yeah, that's a great score by the captain, David Collins. Andy Smith, captain on the day when he's not playing, but inspirational score, but a very poor clearance again. You see a great hook there by Killian Buckley on Jonathan Glynn, but Pádraig Walsh never looked up there and hit it straight down to David Collins.
A major spur that time for David Collins and for Galway, but the response is from Richie Hogan. Inevitably, what a player he is. He may be injured, but he's playing to the very best of his ability out there, and a second for him from the sublime hurling artist. Created space for himself, finished brilliantly.
He did, Jerry. He had a lot of work to do with a few options, but he had the confidence to take it on himself, and you know, I think they'll need a big second half from Richie Hogan, Kilkenny, if they're going to go on and win it.
Again, Michael Fennelly here tries to get it back as far as TJ Reid, succeeds in that, and Reid then big one down towards Colin Fennelly. Yet to score in this match. Here's a chance. Fennelly hooked well by Hanbury. Goes the second time. Stop on the goalkeeper. Johnny Cohen's there as well. It's gone out over the end line. It's going to be another 65. A second for Kilkenny in the space of about 10 minutes at the beginning of this second half.
Yeah, great battle development between Colin Fennelly and John Hanbury. Watch Fennelly here. Obviously thought his pace would have taken him away from Hanbury, but Hanbury stayed with him, and a great hook there. Just watch the way he left in the hurl here. Brilliant skill, and did it go out then for the 65, I think. Great save then as well by Colin Callan. I think went out for the 65.
Well, the last 65 was put over by TJ Reid, who's now got a goal and 5 points in this match. Hanbury there matching up against Colin Fennelly. Seems to be enjoying his afternoon down there. Central position, calm afternoon, very, very little breeze around in Croke Park. One of those perfect days for hurling, and a perfect shot at the end of that from TJ Reid. He's pointed the last two 65s. He tries to G up his colleagues here. Remember, he was the captain in 2010 when Kilkenny lost to Tipperary. They don't want to lose again. They're going for 2 in a row. Galway trying to win the title for the first time in 27 years. Great catch, brilliantly done. Knocked away well that time by Walter Welch, back in a deep position beyond Colin Fennelly. Larkin gets there. Hanbury's under pressure, has possession. Goalkeeper can't get to it, gets it a second time. Dangerous moment for Galway, flicked away by Colin Callan eventually, somewhat indiscriminately. Comes to Owen Larkin, back into play here to the big man, to Walter Welch, and Walter Welch calmly dispatches it between the uprights. His first point of the match, and Kilkenny get another one here, and it's Kilkenny 114. That's 17 points to Galway's 15, and no doubt about it, Kilkenny have been the better team in the second half.
Yeah, Jaron, that switch, Walter Walsh came out to right half forward at half time. He's playing very deep. You saw him catching that puck out, played the ball in, then followed it in and got to score. Great catch there by Johnny Glynn again now.
Glynn across here, but across also came Shane Prendergast. It breaks nicely for Conor Whelan. Whelan from a very, very tricky angle. It was far too tricky. Tried to recycle it. Didn't succeed, however, and it stays at 114 to 15 points.
Yeah, and I see Shane Prendergast down in his hunkers. I'm not surprised. That was a heavy collision between himself and Andy Smith. He's jogging back out, but he looks injured, and
it is going to be a Hawkeye moment, so let's see what happens here. All eyes on screen. Ooh, that was some effort. What a point. Conor Whelan's effort, stunning.
Well, Jared, that shows you the one before half-time from Joe Canning. You know, the technology is there, it has to be used. Conor Whelan poked it in the air that time. It was a 50-50 ball. Some days it'd be given and it wouldn't be. With Hawkeye, that takes that doubt out of it, and it should have been used in the first half as well.
Well, in fairness to the officials in Hawkeye, they are looking at this the whole time, and they have a very good idea themselves if the ball has gone wide, and they don't necessarily communicate with the referee if they think it's unnecessary.
Okay.
That's my reading of it anyway, Michael. This is going to be a free.
I actually think there's a referee in there. I think maybe
There is. Usually
Dickie
it's
Murphy.
Well, Dickie could be there.
Yeah.
Willie Barrett there as well.
Yeah. Watch here, TJ Reid, and I think Andy Smith just held his ground there, and that's a soft free now for TJ Reid.
TJ will be happy to avail of it.
Andy Smith has to go off again now. This obviously has a blood injury, and
Kilkenny with 6 points so far in the second half. Galway with just 2.
I see a big change in the style of the referee. You mentioned it there. In the first half, he seemed to be letting everything go, and since half-time, he's pulled for everything. He's given yellow cards. He's given a lot of softish frees, whereas they were getting, they weren't being pulled in the first half an hour, certainly.
I suppose it's the gamble you take when you're the referee of a major match, and there's no more major match than the All-Ireland final. Do you let it flow? Do you let the game develop a pattern of its own, or do you come in with cards immediately?
Well, I think the incident with Johnny Cole certainly will have rattled the ref. Nobody wanted to send off a player in an Ireland final. It was a big, big call, and he made the decision not to do it. And I think maybe that has, rattled him since then.
TJ Reid lining this up as Greg Lally is on as a temporary sub on this occasion. And he's missed none of his frees. Flawless as usual, TJ Reid. And now he's got a goal and 7. And ominous for Galway. Kilkenny have really begun to dig in this second half now and really mean business. Andy Smith's back in once again, and off goes Greg Lally. Critical stage of the match now. We're into the 17th minute of the second half, so heading into the final quarter of the 2015 final. Who's going to win it? Advantage Kilkenny on the scoreboard, but you never know with Galway. And Cathal Mannion, who is yet to score. That one is blocked out brilliantly by Pádraig Welch. Or it was Michael Fennelly, in fact, another man with a white helmet who got there. Line ball. David Burke's preparing to take it. Takes it quickly. 2 Kilkenny players are there. One of them is Killian Buckley, and Buckley gets ahead there of Jason Flynn. Pressure back in from Flynn. Then it's from Conor Whelan. Got that marvellous last point a few moments ago for Galway. Again, it's Whelan. Hand passing it back here. Well hooked. Johnny Cohen was trying to flight that ball into the inside forwards. Never materialised, but once again Whelan hasn't ever played in a National League match. Only 18 and playing in this All-Ireland final and doing really well. TJ Reid back up under pressure here. Dáithí Burke collects, clears. One man against 3 defenders. That one man was Cyril Donnellan. All the other Galway players had been pulled back in towards midfield. Joe Canning now arriving to put a bit of pressure on Joey Holden. Finally cleared out by Killian Buckley.
Yeah, Jerry, get the impression whoever gets a score out of this will be huge in the game. There's after been an unbelievable amount of hooking and blocking from both sets of players. A lot of effort gone into this passage of play.
And it might be Andy Smith, but that eventually falls from his grasp and out over the sideline, and it becomes a line ball for Kilkenny.
But look, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Galway backs there against only 3 Kilkenny forwards at the moment, and obviously the same down the other end of the field. A lot of players, going back, funneling them back into their own half-back, full-back line and leaving loose men. There's nowhere for the clearances to go, and it's a long way out for teams to get defensive. There's still 17 minutes to go.
It's a peculiar stage in the match right now. It's become a bit of a slog in this All-Ireland final just to try and achieve absolute mastery. That line ball hit in. Dáithí Burke under pressure there. Comes to Richie Hogan. Hogan near the sideline. Flicked back. TJ Reid gets another opportunity. And then finally onto it comes Owen Larkin. Reid once more. Larkin has a look up. Takes it in his stride and hits it beautifully. It's a great point.
Yeah, it's a great point, and I think Owen Larkin has been immense for Kilkenny today. His leadership in the first half, and most of them were going badly. He was winning ball. He scored a good point in the first half. That's another point. His work rate for a man who's won so much and been on the go for so long, it's incredible, and a great leader of this Kilkenny team.
Hoping to win his 8th All-Ireland medal this afternoon, and there's that appetite, that desire to win, and it's always there by Kilkenny. And Ger Aylward has a great chance of putting this one over, and he makes the most of it. A third for Ger Aylward in this final, and suddenly it is all Kilkenny, and it's been by and large all Kilkenny for much of the second half. 4 between them. Colin Kavanagh's puck out, or Colin Cavanagh's puck out, I should say. A couple of bodies wrestling over there, and the referee has noted it. I think Joe Canning is one of the players involved. I'm not sure, is it Joey Holden who was the other one? They've been marking one another. Cyril Donlan saying there was a pull down there. Up they went for it here. Joe trying to come onto it. Not exactly the most free-flowing. At the end of it, it's Cathal Mannion who comes out, 45 metres out of the referee again, says you took too many steps that time, trying to establish control of the situation. And with 15 minutes to go, and Galway about to make a big change. Conor Cooney about to come on for his 14th championship match. He hasn't played any hurling at all this year, but he's in now, a player who got 219 in 2 matches against Kilkenny last year, and he replaces Andy Smith, who's been troubled with injury.
It's a replica nearly of last year's final in the second half. Kilkenny, you know, Michael Fennelly in particular on the middle of the field, very, very influential, stopping the ball going into the full forward, where they were having all the trouble in the first half. They've just upped their ante, upped the intensity, and they're scrapping for every ball like their life's dependent on it.
This is hit here by the goalkeeper Owen Murphy, who has never scored in the championship, and it breaks back down here again, and there's a lot of pressure on that Galway defence right now. They wait for it. Doughty Burke trying to get it out, and in the end it is David Collins who thunders out of the back there, gets it away out as far as Cathal Mannion, pursued there by Conor Fogarty. Mannion once again with the hand pass back as far as David Collins, his team captain. Collins, who will love being part of this on-field action in the All-Ireland final. He'll love it even more if they can edge even closer to Kilkenny. There's still time. It comes out as far as Killian Buckley, gets it away off his left-hand side, all the way up towards Richie Hogan, bats it down, but the man picking it up is Iarla Tanyan.
They've been forced to put the ball in high, you know, that suits the Kilkenny backs.
And there's lots of them there as well. It seems like they've got an extra man or two each time that Galway tried to mount an attack such as that. Away comes Padraig Walsh, left behind. First touch there for Conor Cooney. And again, hit to nobody in particular. The only man down there applying any kind of pressure is Johnny Glynn. Out to Buckley. Buckley, the left half back. Masterful as usual, all the way down as far as Colin Fennelly. Bounces around, Aylward trying to steal inside, Mannion trying to keep him at bay, and then in came Walter Welch as well. Finally, Johnny Cohen. The clearance in the middle of the field here, jumping up for it was Jason Flynn, but winning it is TJ Reid. Reid tries to get away there from Conor Cooney, succeeds, has a go from a distance, 50 metres out. And that one is wide. No need for Hawkeye this time. Or is there? There is.
They're having a look. I think TJ Reid, Owen Larkin was free outside him when he won that ball. Maybe a better option, but I think he was trying to put maybe 5 points between them, put a nail in the coffin, and he went for it on his own.
117 to 16 points, his team leading here. And let's see what Hawkeye reveals. Is it a point for TJ Reid? Seems to have gone to the post, so it might be a kneel, and it is. Kneel on score Ciadaha. The score is not allowed. Stays as a 4-point game. 12 minutes to go, plus additional time. Are Galway to lose another? Are Kilkenny to win 2 in a row? And that would be their 36th All-Ireland victory. A remarkable achievement. Back once again come the tribesmen. Conor Cooney this time. David Burke back as far as another sub, David Collins, and Collins hits it and hits it over. Only 1 point in the championship before now in his career, and now he's got 2 this afternoon, both in the second half, and it's a goal between them. 117 to 17 points.
Yeah, they're 2 massive scores for David Collins. Galway was struggling for scores in the second half. He's popped up with 2 of them, and here's Richie Power getting ready.
What addition that he will be. Richie Power recovered from injury, it would appear. Again into that right half forward position. And the deadlock finally broken here as Dáithí Burke tries to roll it up onto a stick, but again pressure applied. David Burke comes after it, wins it, challenged strongly, vigorously by Ger Aylward, but unfairly so as well. The referee is going across to have a word. And Richie Hogan is the one who's making way, and the player who's going to come on here is Richie Power.
Well, you can see from Richie Hogan's reaction, very disappointed. Obviously had missed a lot of training. You know, I thought he was still doing okay. He was dangerous. Colin Fennelly not in the game much. That's a big call again by Brian Cody. We've seen many of them over the years.
So Richie Power on. Yellow card there, as you may have noticed, for Ger Aylward. Here's Conor Cooney. Hand pass back as far as David Burke. Immediately pressure applied. Good pressure. Michael Fennelly. His brother Colin in there in the yellow helmet. Final clearances by Dáithí Burke. Again picked up here by Jason Flynn. His 4 points were all in the first half. They can do it another. Can he get it? It drops short. Owen Murphy able to gather neatly and calmly out as far as Killian Buckley. Then back into a one-man inside forward line would appear. Colin Fennelly can't take it. Hanbury digging in. Richie Power in there as well. You can see his leg very, very heavily strapped up from a legacy of injuries he sustained over the recent past. Again, the referee forced to throw the ball in. Walter Welch getting his stick to it. Ger Aylward coming across. In the end, it is David Burke. Swings around off his left. Missed initially by Whelan. Picked up here by Joe Canning, and they need a big final 10 minutes from Joe Canning. They need a big final 10 minutes from everybody if they're to take the cup, and they're under pressure, and that time a hefty challenge by Conor Fogarty is penalised by the referee. And the referee has been very quick to issue cards this afternoon, and once again has the notebook out, having a little walk along there with Conor Fogarty and a word in his ear, and it might be more than a word. He's going to get a yellow as well, it would appear.
Yeah, great work right there again by Joe Canning. Forced, you know, he lost possession originally, then won it back.
Well, I didn't see a card. Why you do see Joe Canning hit this one, and he's hit it badly. He's hit it wide.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think it might have been his first touch of the second half. He's been absolutely starved of possession. He looked a bit casual over that free, and that's a very poor wide at this stage of the game.
23, John Power is on now as well. And Ger Aylward is the one who's gone off. 117 to 17 points. Well, Kilkenny, who played poor enough by their standards in the first half, were very fortunate to be only 3 points behind. They have upped the ante in the second half. They may be strapped for players in some respects of quality and experience, but my goodness, they're making everything count right now. And Colin Fennelly knocks this beautifully over the crossbar. His first point. Every one of the forwards starting today for Kilkenny has now scored. It's like normal service was resumed, and the genie is out of the bottle. Once more, Kieran Joyce. Under pressure is Johnny Cohen. Gets it back down again. It's getting to the stage where they need a goal pretty soon, Galway, if they're to stage a major finish to this match. Out comes Pádraig Mannion. Avoids the hook of Walter Welch. They've got to get some possession down there. They've got to make it count. It's the youngster. It's Conor Whelan. And he's put it to the wrong side of the post, and he's put it wide.
Yeah, did the goalie get a little flick to that? We'll see it again here now.
It's a question of whether or not the ball was out over the line, I guess, before the keeper did get the stick to it.
No, I think it's a wide ball, and very poor effort there for Conor Whelan. He watched the break very well. But then a weak shot and out by the post.
It just needed a player with a bit more experience, I would imagine, a big match action to be in that situation.
Absolutely. Well, look at it. I said a few minutes ago about Colin Fennelly staying on the field ahead of Richie Hogan. Paul Murphy comes out, beautiful ball. The last few minutes of All-Ireland, showing that composure to pick out Colin Fennelly, and he stuck it over the bar.
Greg Lally is on for Cyril Donnellan. Lally normally a centre-back. He's gone into midfield, comes centre-back, centre-field really. Murphy's puck out for Kilkenny towards Walter Welch. Over there as well, Owen Larkin, two men so good in the air. The clearance isn't a good one. It comes straight to Pádraig Welch, and Pádraig Welch would love to score in the All-Ireland hurling final, and he's done it.
Yeah, that's a great score from Pádraig Welch. He's had a brilliant game, I think, today again. He was brilliant in the final here last year. Not much talk about him.